Family, what's good? So, I've been putting off this video for a while, but I'm ready now. So, let me start by saying that this is my opinion. This is my experience. This is what my intuition tells me. We don't have to agree. It's okay. Because if we all believe that there's something greater than us, that we're also connected to, it's also a part of us, then we're on the same page. So we don't have to agree with every, detail. But this is my opinion. Now, whether you want to call it God or the divine or the universe or the higher powers, it's all the same to me. On Monday, it's funny that this just happened, but on Monday, somebody commented on one of my videos. I think it was the signs of spiritual awakening or whatever. Somebody commented and was like, really? So there's more to the dark night of the soul than that. There's depression and there's grief and so on and so forth. And I mean, I've said that in other videos, so maybe it was just, they just watched one. I don't know. But they were like, I turned my life over to Jesus Christ. And now, I didn't hear their voice, but I be talking in the way that I think people sound when I read their message. Okay? I turned my life over to Jesus Christ, and that is how I got through it. And you can sit around and feel good all you want, but Jesus Christ is the way, and I serve him, and that is the right way, and whatever. And I mean, I'm no genius, but if you feel like you found the right way, you found the right path for you, why are you responding like that? It sounds to me like you still got some more work to do on yourself. You don't sound very happy. I mean, I'm not religious, and when someone says something religious to me, I don't get upset and say, oh, well, I am not religious, so don't say that to me. Sometimes people will comment and say something like a verse or something from the Bible, and it might, sometimes I agree with it. It's fine. But I don't know if that individual is trying to convince themselves or what, but if that is what you feel after finding the right path and that is your response, then I don't know if you're trying to help me, but I don't want any parts of that. I don't want any parts of that. Did they say you could sit around and feel good all you want? So feeling good is not a good thing? What's wrong with people? I was just like, what? Huh? Anyway. Let me go back to okay, when I was younger, I remember going to church at, I think this might have been somewhere around 10 years old. I remember being at church, and to be totally honest, this is in the mind of a child. Back then, I have a very good memory, but I remember just in church feeling confused, and I would listen to the preacher, and then I would see these people and praying, and I was just confused a lot of the time. This is my thoughts as a child. I was kind of like, so people come here so that someone can tell them to be good? I just kind of felt like, don't you already know that? Do I need someone to tell me not to kill and not to harm others and to be kind and love others? And I mean, I don't need anybody to tell me that. I kind of like that. That's just was a common sense thing to me. Like that as a kid, that was my thoughts in there. Like I didn't really get it. And I never really felt comfortable. I just didn't. Even when I got older. Now, there were times where I went to church with someone when I got older, and it was an okay experience, but sometimes I just didn't feel comfortable. I just didn't. So I think I was always a spiritual person, even when I didn't know what spiritual was. I didn't even know what it meant, but I was always spiritual. So I didn't really click with church, and I kind of felt like it was common sense to love other people and to not be selfish and to be kind to others and respect others, and like these things were normal to me. Now, there are people who can say that to some people I may not have made the best choices in life. You know, certain things that I've done throughout life may not have been what they think are the best choices. But one thing that nobody can say is that I have went out to hurt people, disrespect people, abuse people, mistreat people, lie to people. That's just something that no one can say about me. That's not something that I felt like it was that's just me. That's just me. So I never wanted to cause harm to anyone or allow my selfishness or greed to take over where I mistreat other people. I may have mistreated myself before I mistreated other people. I might allow myself to be mistreated before I did things to harm other people. Now, I may have responded to people who have tried to hurt my loved ones, do things to people I love, or even to me. I may have reacted and said some things that weren't nice. But I am just not the person who will harm other people or mistreat people, or I've always had that love and kindness in my heart where I want people to be happy. So I never felt like I needed anyone to tell me to be that way. That's just who I always have been. Now, I've met some religious people, even though I'm not religious, I've met some religious people who are very kind, very loving, respectful, caring. I've met people like that. And I don't care what you believe in or what you're doing. If it's bringing out the best in you, I'm here for it. If it's causing you to be the best version of yourself, I support that. I got love for it. On the other hand, I've witnessed people who are supposed to be religious who feels like they can pray away their bad behavior, pray about the bad behavior, and then go back to do low vibrational messed up shit. They do things like they say, God knows that I am flawed, and God knows the path that He's laid out for me and knows my heart. And so therefore, they feel as though because they go to church and they pray to God that they are making up for the wrong shit that they do on a regular basis. So right after saying all of that good shit, they turn around and disrespect people, abuse people, manipulate people, cause problems in other people's lives. But then they go pray and everything's okay. So there's no work on yourself. You know, God gave you the power to work on yourself and to make an effort to change these ways that you have. God gave you that too. So I can't vibe with that. I can't vibe with that. Then we have the spiritual people that have this wonderful energy. You're around them and you just suddenly you're excited and you're happy. Good vibes, just like, because they're working, and that's what spirituality is about. It's like starting with you, working on yourself, the darkness within you. So there's people who are spiritual, awesome people that I meet that are great people. And then I meet people who are spiritual, supposedly spiritual, and all they're doing is focusing on the information that they can read. They're ancestors did this and said that to them, and they're ascended masters, and they use all of these spiritual terms and all of this stuff. And when you are around them, what you feel is envy and jealousy and hate and judgment. This is who they are, not working on themselves, but then they're kicking all this spiritual knowledge. And I can't vibe with that either. You know, they say that when you become spiritual, you're supposed to be just peace and loving and just accepting everyone and loving light to all. And for the most part, that's who I am. But maybe I'm not all the way there yet. Because even though I understand why people are the way they are, I understand that it's generational things they learn from their parents, grandparents. You know, I understand that people have these issues due to all the things that they've experienced in life. I get it. And so I sympathize with them for that, and I do wish them the best. But I don't want that low vibe crap around me. I don't want it around me because it drains me. And then I feel all of those negative vibes, and I don't like that. So I don't want it around me. So until I get to the point where I can just ignore or overlook or just accept these low vibrational energies and all, until I get there, this is who I am right now, and it is what it is. And I don't want it anywhere around me, nor do I want it around the people that I love. And that's just it. That's just how I feel right now. Sorry. Now, when it comes down to religion, we have, there's lots of different types of religion, right? There's many of them out there. And you'll have one religious group that will look down on another one and say that group, they're wrong. Their beliefs are wrong. And they were taught theirs just like you were taught yours. So how can you say that yours is right and theirs is wrong? It just doesn't make sense to me. I'm pretty sure if you really search and look into different types of religion, you can find some things that really make sense to you, that like really resonate with you, and then you'll find some things that you don't agree with. And that goes for all of the religions all of them, pretty much. So it just doesn't make sense to me that one is right and the other one is wrong, because you were all taught what you know. And we're taught a lot of shit in this world, and all of it isn't good. You know, when I first made this channel, there was a young lady that I connected with who lives in India. She's like 22 years old at the time. And we connected, and we would talk on WhatsApp and stuff. And we connected in regards to this, these psychic experiences that we were having. That's how we connected. And it was a nice experience. We would talk for hours. This is a young lady her whole existence and what she knows is the opposite of mine. She's 22 years old. I hear something moving. So she's 22 years old, and she's in a situation where her mother wants to arrange for her to marry someone, and she doesn't want to do that. She has never had a boyfriend, never been out on a date, doesn't hang out. Like there were certain things I would ask her and she would just laugh, like that's not how we live over here. And it's just a totally different life. Here's this girl who's never been on a date and never had a boyfriend, and I had my first boyfriend at 18. Hanging out. In my 20s, I hung out. I'm from Miami, okay? I'm from Miami. So in my 20s, I was hanging out and hanging in the strip clubs, and it wasn't just about making money. It was just hanging out in there for fun, just for fun. So we're from two totally different worlds, But we were able to connect and just really connect. And that, I feel like that's just the power of being able to connect with someone's spirit and not allowing the outside world to control your connection to someone, your vibe with someone. That was deep. That was very powerful. So who is God, right? Some people will say that God is a man, and some will say that God is a woman. And I kind of think that is limiting. That's limiting who God is when you say that God is a human. I feel like why can't we just admit that we don't really know? Because we don't really know. We only know what we were taught. It's okay to not really know. I mean, when you try to force something and force yourself to believe something, it's almost like you're just trying to be in control, and that's the ego. You just want to be in control. And it's okay to not really know. We only know what we've been taught. But what about your intuition? What does that tell you? When you can tap into that, tap into your soul, then there's things that you will feel that's right, that makes sense to you. So we don't really know. You've had people who've had a near-death experience and they said that they saw God, right? And God looked like this or looked like that. And then you'll have someone else who had a near-death experience and they say God looked like that. So maybe that has a lot to do with your subconscious mind and what you think God is. And how do we know that that source, that powerful source, doesn't come to you in the form of what will resonate with you? You know, how do we... It's okay to just not know, and we don't really know. As far as I'm concerned, God is whatever there is that is responsible for us being able to exist. Or at least exist in this form right now, in human form. How do we know that God isn't oxygen or the air that we breathe? How do we know that that isn't God? How do we know that God isn't the sky or the sun or the moon or the planets or the stars or all of nature? How do we really know? How do we know? We don't really know. Am I the only one that sometimes looks at the sky like, what the hell is that? I mean, I know what they call it. They call it the sky. And you look at the moon like, what the hell is this? Like, what is that? Am I the only one who thinks like that? Because I know they call it the moon. I know they call it the sun and the sky and the planets and the stars. And I know what they call it. They've given a name to everything. But really, what the hell is that? Like, what is that? Am I the only one who thinks like that? I mean, the elements in our body, we are made of the same things that stars are made of. Is that not enough for you to question everything that you've been taught? Because it's damn sure enough for me, you know? I think I'm going to end this video right here because I think too much. That's my problem sometimes. And so that throws people off. But many of you can relate to me. But that's it for this video. That's it. Once again, I want to thank you all for joining me. Thanks for taking the time to watch my videos. I appreciate all of you. And I'll see y'all next time. Peace and blessings.